We be live!
Hello.
I miss that. I always wait for that every week. That's the cutest intro. Hi everybody. Make sure before I say anything, if you just like the stream, even if you're new here, don't ask any questions. Don't wonder if it doesn't matter. Just like the show. Okay, we need your likes. We need your likes to grow the channel. So please just do that. It doesn't cost you anything. It just costs you half a second. So please like the show. Once the show is over, please leave a comment so that our channel grows just a bit. Like, we need your comments for our channel to grow. So thank you for that. Thank you for everybody who likes and leaves comments. Okay. We are going to be covering the news about atheism, religion, secularism, and all the stuff related to that from all around the world. We are, we're covering, what countries are we covering today, Susie?
Oh my gosh, we have Iran, Canada, the Canada-India beef. Iran, India, and more India, Iraq, the US, Kuwait.
Yes. By the way, the Canada India news, I think most people know about that by now, but you're here for our takes. Okay, this is not we're not just giving you the news. People know the news here. The reason why you're here is because you want to see what me and Susanna have to say about it, right? But we're also going to summarize it for people who might not know what's happening. And also, it's just not our news that is from multiple countries, that is from global, from all over the world. It's our audience as well, because look at this. We have Noman from India, Shikha from India, New Day. You always see something in the comments that is funny that I don't know which one. New Day from Norway, and then we have, where is this? Again, more from India. We have a lot from India. We have Andrea from Romania. We have, oh yeah, okay. Was this one? Was it this one that you left?
Yeah.
I know. Okay, it's like okay, a lot of people. Yeah, okay. Oh, and Drusilla also from Norway. A lot of people jumped on your beef comment. Was that on purpose, or is that just accident? I think
Kind of, no, it was not on purpose, but then as I said it, I was like, hey, if it fits, it fits.
Lucifer from Malaysia, Julia from New York, Kumar from India, and yeah, did I miss anybody? SSS. Oh, from Switzerland. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep highlighting those. Oh, Australia. Eric from Australia. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to be covering this news very soon, but I think you want to share something with us before we get into the news, Susie? Yeah?
Yes. Okay, so this is important. How do I want to get into this? So basically, the news is going to look a little bit different than what we are used to this week. And so normally, we have our news write-ups on our website. And this week, we are not able to have our news write-ups because, oh boy, I have had to make the difficult decision to lay off the people that were doing the writing for our website. And this is because Atheist Republic is basically going through a financial crisis. And we were in a really tough position where we were deeply in the red. And I had lent Atheist Republic a considerable amount of money from my own personal income to help cover the costs and to try to prevent a spiral. And it was unsustainable, especially considering I can't continue to do that. And so because of how the situation evolved over this month, I had to make the decision that we had to cut our writing staff. But the good news is that I have a solid plan, not only to pull Atheist Republic through this issue, but to bring our writers back. So, Armin, pull it up.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So we are doing an emergency fund to raise money for Atheist Republic. And this all the information is included in the campaign. Armin, if you could post a link. The link is also the top of each description. There's a lot of information there, but basically this money is going to cover the money that I lent to Atheist Republic. It's going to cover our deficit. It's going to cover the cost of incoming expenses that would have continued to push us further into a deficit. And then it's also going to cover or create a small cushion of funds, basically to help avoid this issue going forward. Because Atheist Republic has been operating on the thinnest margin for months now, and one unexpected charge could easily push us back over, right? And so we need more reserve, because we're basically been operating without reserves, to help prevent this issue from happening again. So this is this is what we're doing right now to help make sure that we can keep our operations continuing. This is just phase one of our fundraising. So we are going to make sure that we can cover these immediate expenses with this fundraiser. And then I have a plan to bring back the news team. So if my plan to bring back the news team is if we can get 50 $10 monthly donors, which I think is very attainable, then we can bring back the news team and have it be a very secure part of our programming. Yeah. Armin, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think you're handling this very well. In 3 days, we've already raised $1,400. So this is my understanding is that this will just fix the situation short term, but to fix the deficit. But we also need to figure out a way to bring back our writers, right? For that to happen, we need people to, you could like donate to us to make sure we get to this mark, so that all, in the short term, we fix all the, or else everything will fall apart if we don't get to this 2,500 mark. But longer term, what we need is for people to click on this, make this a monthly donation, and then click the $10 one, right? That will give us like a way to bring back our writers, right? That would be
exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And yeah, so I would really like to ask our community that if you have enjoyed our programming and if it brings value to your life, and if this is a place where you enjoy coming to and hanging out with us, and you think that we promote the values that you appreciate more than other places or content creators in the world, please contribute to us. If you've considered donating or giving to Atheist Republic before, but you haven't done it or haven't had the opportunity, please do it now. This is really the moment where we need it the most. And it would really mean a lot to us. And not only is this something that is going to help us as an organization and help our team and the people that work with us, but it's also for the members of our organization that aren't in a position to give, right? There are a lot of people from all around the world that are in much more difficult circumstances, or maybe it's not safe for them to give to an organization named Atheist Republic, right? But this community and this organization provides a lot of solace for them and comfort and belonging in a world or community where they really can't be themselves anywhere else. So you're also like really giving to that person, like, because this is where they come to feel like they're understood. And all the support that you guys give us, it doesn't have to be financial. We love having our volunteers. We are a grassroots organization. We always have been, just based off of the power of people and the power of people coming together as a community. Oh my God.
Guys, we just got We just got another $500 from Secular Sakai. We're almost there. We're only 500 short.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
I'm literally, oh my god, I'm so emotional right now.
That is crazy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sakai. It really is just unmatched. I sent Sakai a thank you note the other day, and I basically told him if we had a physical space, like I would name whole like wing of our building after him. Thank you so much for your generosity, Sakai. It really is yeah, it's just incredible. I don't have words because I know that it's really personally meaningful to me because I just do what I do because I care and because I like it and I find meaning in it. But to be honest, there are a lot of times where I don't know if other people like value what I do or what other people do. And so to see our community step up and help us in our hour of need, it means you guys are finding value in it and you believe that that should be recognized and supported. And it really yeah, it means a lot to me.
That's amazing. I know Susie is trying not to cry right now. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. I start some comments. I don't know which ones, if anyone in there that you want to highlight, so I leave it up to you. But yeah, guys, so I put the link again one more time to this fundraiser in the description. If anybody, even a little bit helps, so thank you. Like, not everybody is going to be able to do what Sakai is doing, but thank you again to Sakai, and everyone else that helped as well. I see 16 people helped so far, so thank you to every single one of them, and also to people who give us super chats and our YouTube members and all that.
Yeah, oh my god, it makes a huge difference. It doesn't have to be, this like huge sum. Literally, the $10 monthly donors is one of the most like powerful forms of support that you can show us. Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I remember for 17 months and saying, I'm giving $500 today. Who will join me? Well, he followed through on his word, and I almost immediately cried. So right. Newman is celebrating his 14 months of membership. Thank you for your membership, Newman. Oh, wait, no, he told us that it's not Newman, it's Noman.
Noman. Be careful, yes.
It keeps changing. Saying thank you for 14 months of membership. And Enki, is a new member. We have a new YouTube member. Thank you for joining us, Enki. Welcome to Satan's Minions. And there was something else that I wanted to say. Where did it go? Shoot.
About Newman's membership? That was on.
No.
It's okay.
Oh, I remember now. Because Ob is saying I could write for free. I don't know if my writing skills are top notch, but I can put in an effort. Please, we have a volunteer form below. So if you would be interested in volunteering with us, that's a really important part of our organization as well. It's not just about who can give, right? We do really put a huge value and premium on the skills in our community that the people are willing to give to us. So if you're interested in volunteering with our organization and getting to work with our community in a new way or on a different level and work with other members of our volunteer team, please check out the link in the description.
Yes. Also, there's a super chat that is relevant to the news that we're about to cover. Yeah. So I am not going. So Sid, we saw your super chat, but I'm going to highlight it after we cover the news. So let's do the first news. I'm gonna put you on the screen because I need to go. Yeah, so this is the comment that we're gonna respond to.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
I'm
one
gonna put
thing.
yeah.
Zeta saying, how can I support Atheist Republic as a broke student? You can give us a like and you can comment on the
Like,
videos.
yes,
Feed the
please give us.
algorithm.
Yes. If you really want to support us, really Zaid want to support us, you could share our video on your social media accounts as well. Even
Well,
if you
only
don't
if
have
it's
that many
safe for you.
followers. Oh yes, only if it's safe for you. Good point. So, but that would be yes. Any activity on the channel would really help our channel grow. So that would be helpful.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you for asking, Zaid. That's very sweet.
Yeah, it's really important because I don't want people to think that it's just about money, right? It's not. We do need obviously a certain amount of funds to keep things going and have it be comfortable and efficient, right? Some of about it is about the efficiency of service as well, but it is really at the bottom of the line. It's about our community, and I don't know. I love the little community of our volunteer team. We kind of get to know each other better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could volunteer. They volunteer. If you don't, also you could also volunteer. Link to our volunteering is in the description.
But also you're a student, so focus on your studies.
Yes.
But Tesla June, who's an amazing volunteer on our Persian side of our organization, is saying, "Oh, F Susie, only you can make me cry." I made an appearance on the Persian show recently, and about 2 weeks ago, and I got emotional and I cried a little bit, and then Tesla came up and he was like, "My heart is stone, but Susie made me cry."
We got another donation, small $10 donation from Anonymous saying a little something from the Master of Darkness. We just got that as well.
Ooh.
So that's so thank you for that. Yeah, like so.
Oh, it's this Master of Darkness. Thank you.
Oh yeah. So look, you got that. So $10, we got that. So I think we just got another one here as well. So this one, oh, that's Darko. Darko just gave $50 today.
Oh my God. Thank you, Darko.
So good. Yeah. Thank you,
guys. Oh, and Enki is saying, just found you guys recently. Love your content. Well, that's amazing. Thank you for joining our members. Make sure to use our new emojis. And we got another new member, Norwegian Toby. I love the name. Very on the nose. Thank you for joining Satan's Minions, Norwegian Toby. So yeah, guys, we are going to continue to talk about this fundraiser, obviously, because we need to make sure that we meet our goal. And then our second phase of fundraising is going to be a drive for our $10 monthly donors to help bring back our news writers and make sure that that programming is secure. And so that's just kind of like a heads up about where we're going. And because I think that it's fair and reasonable that if I'm asking you guys to help donate to our organization to help us during this time of need, that you're also aware of how we're planning to stabilize things, right? So this is all part of the plan of stabilizing our programming and honestly bringing back our programming in a better way, because I do want what we give to our community to continue to improve in value, right? And in the quality of that it brings to your life. So yeah, thank you guys for all the support that you've already shown us so far. It really absolutely blew me and Armin out of the water. And yeah, it really, really means a lot to us. And the good news is, although this is a little bit of a difficult period, is that I know that we can get through this, because the only way the Atheist Republic has ever made it through any difficulty is through the power of our community. That's where we are at the end of the day. That's always what this organization has been about. It's what birthed this organization. So it's through the power of our people, our community members, that we're going to continue. And I know we're going to continue. So yeah. Oh, and we just got another new member, Sid Day. Yes. Again, our minions are growing today, Armin. So yeah, thank you everyone for the support, and we will keep you guys up to date about what's happening. And also, I think Armin and I are cooking up some ideas for a fun fundraiser coming up at the end of the year. Like a proper fundraiser. And I think that'll be really, really fun. So that being said, should we dig into the first news, or did you say that you need to go to the bathroom?
Well, yeah, we'll go. I will put you on the screen, but I also see, other than Sid's super chat, I see Asian American super chat, which is relevant to the news. So we're gonna do it after. Yes, and also Darko is saying, "Stay strong." Thank you,
Thank you,
Darko.
Darko, and thank you for your generosity.
Yeah, that's very sweet. All right, so I'm gonna put. So I can clap for this one. Yeah, nobody died. Oh, I mean somebody did die, but we don't care about it. Oh, this guy.
The way you
oh,
caught yourself. Okay, I don't know. Should we clap? It feels a little weird.
Let's feel okay. I'm not gonna clap. All right. First news.
Okay, first news. Was India behind a Sikh assassination in Canada? Geopolitical intrigue and drama. Tensions rise as Canada investigates the killing of a prominent Sikh leader named Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was gunned down in British Columbia. Sikh and Muslim community leaders have urged the Canadian government to be more proactive in safeguarding their communities amidst this turmoil. Nijjar, who advocated for a sovereign Sikh state in India called Khalistan, has been has been tagged as a terrorist by the Indian authorities. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau voiced concerns over, quote, credible allegations of a potential link between Indian government agents and the assassination, a claim that Mukhbir Singh of the World Sikh Organization said was not surprising to the Sikh community. The backdrop is a decades old Sikh secessionist movement, which traces its roots to the 1947 partition of India and Pakistan. This movement's crescendo was in the 1980s, notably marked by the controversial 1984 storming of the Golden Palace, Sikhism's holiest site, by the Indian military. This military action and the subsequent assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by her Sikh bodyguards sparked a series of violent episodes and claims of Sikh persecution, with the shadow of these events still lingering in today's geopolitics. Okay, Armin, let's come back. Okay, there we go. So there is a lot to dig into here. This is a very, very controversial episode unfolding right now between Canada and India. And should we provide more details, or what's your reaction? How much have you been following this?
I want people to, because a lot of people were trying to predict where I stand on this, because I'm a Canadian citizen and I'm also a liberal, and we have been taking a lot of positions against the BJP and Modi's government here on our shows. So I was wondering, because a lot of people seem to assume, based on all of these things, what do people think? Like, what do people think I'm going to say about this? I wonder if anybody has any predictions about this. Given that, so this is Canada versus India, and I'm a Canadian and I'm a liberal at the same time, and we have been against Modi's government. So I think a lot of people guess what I'm going to say about this. What do you want to guess? What I'm going to say about this?
Oh, well, in the beginning of the show, Shikha was lambasting you about just dogmatically supporting. Yeah, no, here we go. It would be fun to see Armin defending his favorite politician, Trudeau. I don't know where she got that impression.
I mean,
but a lot of judgment is being passed already.
Why do you think he's my favorite politician? I don't know what you're talking about. You just baseless assumptions. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like this. I like somebody saying, I think Armin's going to be pretty objective about it. So here's the thing. this guy, I do believe, is accurate to call him a terrorist. This
Yeah.
guy who died. He was a terrorist. He was a separatist. He was, as a liberal. People think as a liberal, I will be. I okay. So one of our highest priorities is to defend every country's independence, their sovereignty, their border integrity, and any force and any group of people who challenges that, we're against that. So we are obviously against this person who died. He was not somebody that we would support, and we agree with the Indian government that he was a terrorist, right? With regards to these allegations, well, we have not been shared the evidence that the Canadian government is going with. So I don't know. Like I think that's the proper position would be to say that we don't know. We don't know whether this is true or not. Whether Indian government has done this. The problem with analyzing this situation is that it's both bizarre on both ends. Like it's
Yes.
so like I don't know which one is more unlikely. Like they're both very unlikely. They're both so unlikely that I don't know which one to choose. It's very unlikely for the Indian government to be this stupid. This is unbelievable. I mean, I know Modi's government has done some crazy things that we criticize here, but this is completely on a different level. To kill somebody on Canadian soil, this being something that the Indian government does, this is unimaginable. Like this is mind blowing. This is not something like a government like that of India does. This is beyond even something that the government of Pakistan would do. This is beyond something even that the government of Saudi Arabia would do. This is not something a country as significant and important as India. I cannot even imagine them even considering doing something like this.
Wait,
this is
why?
only
Because it's on Canadian soil? Because they are very credible allegations of them doing this in Pakistan, like left, right, and center.
Okay, Pakistan. Yeah, okay. But this is Canada. Okay. So also, this is the kind of stuff that a government as stupid as the government of Iran does, not India. Like this is no, yeah, this is Iranian government level diplomacy. You know, like this is not diplomacy, but you know what I'm talking about. This is politics. This is not India. This is not. I don't like. What are like? I want people. I hope people understand how unimaginable this is for a country like India to behave like this. This is mind blowing. Okay, so that's like if anybody suggests to me that the Indian government has done this, I will be like, you're insane. Okay. However, the problem is it's also insane for Canadian intelligence to say something that they don't have evidence for. Okay. So that is also
serious with a trade deal that's as significant, that's been worked on for over a decade coming down the pipeline. Like this is crazy.
So that is also crazy. Like, it's crazy for the Indian government to have done something like this. So I cannot believe that. But I can't also believe that the Canadian government would lie about something like this. They're both unbelievable. But one of them is true. This is not a false dichotomy. This is an actual dichotomy. One of these has to be true, and because they're both insanely unbelievable, I don't know which one to pick. So I am lost for words. I don't know. Do you understand the situation that we're here in?
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm just laughing because your way of expressing it is so funny.
Yeah.
This is something as stupid as the government of Iran would do.
Yes, this is not. We're talking about an economic superpower. Two economic superpowers. Like this is like we are talking about two countries that their alliance is significant to the entire planet. We're talking about members of the Five Eyes, right? These are both members. Like, let me see. Actually, make sure if I got that right. Right. But Yeah. So these are countries that the United States is relying on and creating an alliance against the threat of the wolf warrior diplomacy that
Mhm.
is China, right? So when Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, United States. Okay, so I mean, India is not in the Five Eyes, but India is a major ally to Western countries when it comes to trying to take a stance against China's wolf warrior diplomacy, right? So between United States having two of its main allies going like this at each other, this is a disaster. This is a disaster when it comes to Western. Like we need, guys, as you could complain about India's politics all you want. Uh, we need India. India, with
Yeah.
all its flaws, it's a much is a very important ally to Western countries when it comes to making sure that China is not bullying other countries around, right. This is like it's there's and India is going to become a major economic superpower
Mhm.
in the next couple of years. So this is a disaster when it comes to global politics and global trade. These are
The
India and
diplomatic
Canada
tit
are,
for tat, this expelling of
yes.
diplomats on both sides, suspending visa services. I mean, this is a disaster.
Yeah, these are countries that you want to have on the same side. Canada and India, these are countries that you want to have on the same side. So this is when it comes to liberalism and secularism and democracy, this is has Canada and India being against each other is a major blow to the promotion of liberal forces winning globally, right? There are certain events that when it happen, we celebrate, we see that as a major win for the world liberal order. Like, for example, people coming up and backing Ukraine against Russia. That was one of those key moments, which was a key shift in global politics in favor of liberal powers. This is one of those key moments that has been a major blow, like Canada and
Mhm.
India being against each other. So there's that. um Unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. If you had to bet, which one would you think is more likely to be true? I mean, I can't. Why? Here's the thing: other Western countries are not taking Canada very seriously right now. So
Well, it's
there's
not, I
that.
don't know if it's that they don't take
It's,
Canada seriously. I think they don't
it's just
want
there's
to
just
be forced to side with
just
Canada because India is
because India
so
is big.
strategically important. So, like, they're
Yeah.
not jumping to Canada's defense because India is so important to them. But Antony
Right.
Blinken actually did put out a statement within the past 2 days saying that they're taking these allegations like very, very seriously and that they're asking all Indian authorities to cooperate. So that was kind of significant coming from the Secretary of State. But in general, well, because you asked me what do I think is more likely. So I was reading an article about how an anonymous source, so take that how you will, was speaking to a journalist, I think it was CBC, and said that um, part of this intelligence came from the Five Eyes Cooperative of Intelligence Services, meaning that it wouldn't be solely Canadian intelligence that had some evidence of this plot, meaning it came from one of their allies being either United States, New Zealand, Australia, or the UK. And then there was also another source came out saying that part of how they found evidence or why they believed to have credible evidence for these allegations is because Canada has been surveilling Indian diplomats, which is a little bit of a whoo-hoo. It's kind of like how when Jamal Khashoggi was murdered in the Saudi consulate, it was partially exposed because the Turkish government came forward and basically revealed that they had bugged the Saudi consulate. So they had
I mean,
audio of him being murdered. I mean, it's not on the same level that we know of yet, but it's like, actually, we've been watching you. And Dee brings up a very good point. Wait, where did her comment go? She was saying, um, like, why would such a disaster be fabricated and who wins?
nobody wins. I mean, this is a
Exactly.
lose
So
lose.
that in a sense almost gives it credibility because it's like such a disaster. Why would you want to fabricate something like this?
There's nobody wins in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad for India. This is horrible for India, and it's horrible for Canada. I don't even know. It's good for China. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would be like, somebody, Chinese intelligence killed him and made it look to be Indian, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist. If I was one, I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Akash is saying, what do you think would be the motivation to fabricate this claim if they did?
There's none. Who can? There's no one. Canada would not have any, but there's zero. This would be a disaster. This would be an embarrassment. Okay, here's the thing. If I don't think they would on purpose make this up, but if they made a mistake, if the Canadian intelligence made the mistake, and the Prime Minister put all his political capital and his legitimacy and his credibility on the line to go out and say, we have credible information that Indian government has done this, and then it's proven that they are wrong, this would be a global embarrassment for Canada, something that they would be referred to for decades to come.
It's literally the meme, like, where it's like from Tiger King, where it's like, I will never financially recover from this.
Yes, if this is wrong information, why would Canada lie about this? If it's not true, there's a good chance that eventually people will find out that it's not true. And it will be devastating for Canada to claim something like this that it's not true. There is zero motivation for this. There could be no motivation to fabricate this. Either it's true, or they made an embarrassing mistake. They would not lie on purpose. It's one of these two, I think. Okay? An embarrassing. Yes, either it's true, either what Canadian government is saying is true, or they have made an embarrassing mistake. It's one of these two.
It's just a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot of the comments and super chats to go through here. One of them that I appreciated was Sid Dave was guessing how we would cover this, and I think it was accurate. He's saying you will not support a theocratic ethno state, just like how you don't support ISIS, but you will condemn the extrajudicial killing of this guy.
Oh yeah, of course. But we don't even need to say that whoever killed this guy was an a-hole and was a criminal. We just don't know who did it. We're not saying, because here's the thing. I'm not going to come and say obviously the Indian government did it. We don't have access to the evidence. I'm not just going to believe Trudeau just because he's Trudeau. There's a chance that they made. And if I don't believe him, it's not because I think he's lying. I don't think they're stupid enough to lie about something like this. But there is a chance that this is bad intelligence. There's a very low chance that this is bad intelligence. But which one is lower? It's a very low chance that this is bad intelligence, but there's also a very low chance that Indian government would do this. So they're both very unlikely. So I don't know which one is more unlikely. So I don't know which one to pick. I am actually,
But I appreciate
let's go.
Sid Dave for giving us a very good faith guess about what our opinion would be, because everyone else, well, not everyone else, but certain other people engaging in very bad But I'm like, yes, Sid Dave understands our values and our principles. I love to see it.
Yes.
Okay. Gajan is asking, could it be a rogue agent?
Okay, I was thinking that, but this has to be the best rogue agent in the history of rogue agents. How did? I don't know. Okay, so rogue agent in the Indian government. Somebody did this without having the backing. Okay, I don't know.
Well, like
Um,
maybe it's in the sense that, you know, how Armin, you
so-
talk about how
okay.
when we with the attempted assassinations of Missy Ahmadinejad were so
Okay.
incredibly inept and
Yes.
stupid that you were like, it's almost possible that there are people operating within the Iranian
Yeah, but this.
intelligence services that are basically doing it of their own accord without the higher ups necessarily understanding what they're doing. Maybe that kind of a situation.
Well, that's a good example. This was not like that. This was done successfully,
Yeah.
right? Uh, so, all right, and it was it was done in a way that the Canadian intelligence seems to think it's the Indian government entirely, right? It doesn't, like, if it was a rogue agent, the Canadian intelligence has not been recognizing it as a rogue agent. And mind you, like, Canadian intelligence has have had a good record. Like, we're not talking, like, Canadian government has stopped multiple terrorist attacks on Canada before they happened because of good tracking and stuff like that. So we're not talking, I don't know. I don't know how you evaluate how good this intelligence is because they don't give us the evidence for this stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is a rogue agent. If it's a rogue agent, it's a rogue agent that has fooled all of the intelligence of Canadian government to think, in a way, to think that this is the entirety, like Modi's government itself. So there's that, right?
Mhm. Um,
Weird.
okay, so there was another comment I wanted to read. Okay, so Gajan gave us a super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Gajan. Actually, no, wait, let's do Sid's first because he sent it in immediately. Okay. Sid is saying, thank you for the super chat, Sid. Media is sanitizing him as an activist when he was on a no-fly list in the US, in the US and Canada, and considered by India to be a terrorist. He traveled to Pakistan, which was involved in bombings. It still does not justify what India did.
Oh yeah, and also for India to come and keep saying, like, "Oh, this guy was a terrorist." I mean, yeah, he was, but that makes it suspicious. Like, this is not what India should be saying right now. You're like, because they kind of make it seem like, well, he deserves it. Like, okay, when the fingers are being pointed at you, you don't have to go keep reminding people that this guy deserved to die, because, like, okay, so you did it then. Right? I mean, we like, that's what it sounds. A lot of people, that's what they're hearing, because in Indian government is constantly saying, like, oh, Canadian government is not focusing on the right thing. The right thing that we need to focus on is that this guy was a terrorist. Like, they sound like they're justifying. I'm not saying they are justifying it, but to a lot of to the audience, to a lot of people who are listening to the narrative of the Indian government right now, it comes across as like, yeah, well, if we did it, we did a good job. Right? So, I mean, I know that's not what they're saying, but that's what a lot of people are hearing. But I agree that this guy was a terrorist. Okay, I agree this guy should have been stopped, not this way, but should have been stopped some other way.
I think the Canadian government, I don't know the legality, but I
Okay.
think they should have been more
Yeah.
cooperative in extraditing him.
Yes. Yeah, I think the Canadian government failed. Yeah, I think that, given that India and Canada are supposed to be allies, I think the Canadian government should have cooperated more with I mean, this is a guy that is challenging the border integrity of India. Okay, so if anything, allies should do. I mean, if they don't cooperate on anything else, it should be on this. So I think this man should have been arrested and delivered to India. Like a good ally, Canada should have behaved like that. That's how it should have been done, right?
And you know what's interesting is that, like,
Yeah.
apparently at the G20 summit, Modi and Trudeau had a little moment together, like pull aside, and talked about this. And Modi basically confronted him about not doing enough to combat the quote unquote anti-India elements within Canada. And this whole like anti-India thing is often used, you know, to like you know, use sedition charges against people unjustifiably or silence critics or blah blah blah. No, this movement is anti-India. It is. So
Yes.
I feel like that framing is accurate and fair.
Right.
And also, on a personal note, like, the idea of actually establishing Khalistan like seems like a terrible idea on so many different levels. One, I was thinking about this. I'm like, I think the last thing that the subcontinent needs is more partitions around ethno-religious lines. For one. Two, if you did get a Khalistan, do you really want to be a tiny landlocked nation in between two nuclear states?
Right.
That sounds like a horrible idea. Um uh so
Oh,
wait, let's
what?
do the new
Yeah,
members in a second. We have a lot more
yeah, yeah.
super
I
chats.
want to highlight this. Okay, I want to highlight this comment. Let me respond to this. It was kind of funny. Where is it? Oh, where? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is
Oh
very
god.
funny. Okay. So Shikha is saying India is a nation of Gandhi. We can never do it. Okay, Shikha. India is also a nation that killed Gandhi. So do you have it's both Gandhi and assassination of Gandhi is both Indian. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think that's a good example if you remember, because I'm not Indian and I know what happened to Gandhi. So I don't know why you're ignoring that part of the story. So I don't know. Okay. So that was interesting. But yeah, so which one do you want to highlight? You go next.
Gaishan gave us a super chat. Thank you, Gaishan. Saying, are there any differences between Hawaiian, Khalistani, Uyghur, or Quebecan separatists? When does a separatist become a freedom fighter?
Wait. But by the way, guys, I know she's joking. I'm joking back. Gaijin, are there any differences between Hawaiian, Khalistani, Uyghur, Quebecan separatists? Yeah. When does a separatist become a freedom fighter? Okay, so when you pick up guns, I guess. And also, freedom fighter is another. You say freedom fighter. If your country is not a fascist government, then you're not a freedom fighter. If you're a terrorist, okay? Unless you are being like ruled by Yazidis or the Islamic Republic of Iran, then being a separatist, if you're a political separatist, then fair play, freedom of speech, try to get what you want using political means. But if you're a separatist that picks up arms and your government is not fascistic, then you are not a freedom fighter, you're a terrorist, right? So Quebecan separatists are doing like trying to become separate using political means, so that's fine. Uyghurs is the name of an ethnicity, not a group of, not a movement.
But there is the
Called,
movement for East Turkmenistan. That there is a
yeah,
movement.
but that I know, but we don't want to generalize that to
True.
entire all of Uyghurs, right? Like, so yeah,
Well, also
Khalistani
they
is a
are the Uyghurs and Kazakh people in Xinjiang, so-called East Turkmenistan, are living under authoritarian rule.
yeah, but I don't think that is for China is authoritarian enough to justify separatism.
Even
I think
when
it's
there's almost
yeah,
500,000 to a
I
million people being put in forced labor camps, that's not
yeah,
authoritarian enough.
China's border integrity is important. I do not support any movement that challenges China. I do support any movement that challenges against China's authoritarian activities, like push back against that. But I respect China's border integrity, and I'm against any movement that challenges China's border integrity. I am against the CCP. I am against that government. I am against their methods. I am against their human rights violations. But just because of that, border integrity is such an important, there are very, very, very rare circumstances that I would be able to welcome somebody using arms to challenge any country's border integrity. One of the countries that, when it comes to human rights record, I am against the most is Saudi Arabia, right? And also the Islamic Republic of Iran's human rights records we're very much against. But I would not be in favor of challenging any of these countries' border integrity, either
Mhm.
Iran or Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, I would defend Saudi Arabia's border integrity, even though I am against the government's human rights violation. We should not mix these with each other, right? Unless there is actual genocide on a scale that we've seen with the Armenian genocide or the genocide during World War II. Those are very, very rare circumstances that you might support something like that. Anyways, I think we answered this properly.
Yeah, okay. So there's lots of guys, by the way, if you're enjoying this so far, make sure to like this stream. Like, do not forget to like and subscribe. Okay, Sakai gave a super chat. Thank you, Sakai, saying, do you believe this would be the national government of India or a rogue nationalist faction or criminal organization with ties to India's intelligence agencies? We kind of talked about this a little bit already about a rogue agent. What do you think about these other angles?
I think if it's a rogue nationalist and the Canadian intelligence could not differentiate between a rogue nationalist and the Indian government, then that would be embarrassing, because the Canadian Prime Minister came out and in front of the whole world accused the Indian government of carrying out this assassination. That would, if that's what happened, this would be very, very embarrassing for both the Prime Minister and also Canadian intelligence as a whole. It's just so weird for them not to be able to differentiate between those two. That's so strange. And maybe with this level of confidence, they didn't come out and say like maybe it's a rogue nationalist, maybe it's the Indian government. They came out with such high confidence and blamed the Indian government, right? So to me, that level of confidence might suggest that they have evidence to support this not being a rogue agent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's so hard to guess right now. It's so bizarre. Yeah. They need to share the evidence with. I mean, are they sharing the evidence with like other, like we need like a third party to come tell people that this has been verified, like maybe US intelligence or French intelligence or UK intelligence.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but somebody needs, like, I know we can't see the evidence because it's too sensitive, but somebody else needs to come and verify and come tell the public that, yeah, we checked it and these people are right.
The UK isn't going to do that. I don't know, maybe maybe Australia or New Zealand. Maybe New Zealand.
Pakistan intelligence. I can't. Yeah.
Okay, so next super chat again from Gajan. Thank you, saying this is what happens when you become. This is what happens when you become an independent nation with its pointless liberalism and democracy. India and Canada should bend the knee to His Majesty King Charles III. All hail Britannia!
Okay.
JK.
Okay.
Thank you, Gajan. That made me laugh. Shika gave a super chat and saying, do you think Trudeau is doing it for basically a domestic audience? If so, this was the worst play ever.
If so, he's the dumbest prime minister who has ever lived. And no, I don't think so. What internal game to like come lie about the biggest lie in the history of Canada, like, and for what? Like, I don't know. No, definitely not. The embarrassment of this being wrong would be devastating. It will embarrass Canada. Would you want to be a prime minister that is telling something that comes as and a world like Canada is now all over the news right now, right? Like when Canada makes global news, that means something significant is happening. Canada doesn't often become global news, right? So,
if we're on the front page, something is wrong.
Yeah. If Canada is on the front page and it ends up being something wrong, this would be bad for the reputation of Canada for years to come, and Trudeau would be responsible for it. What internal game, what advantage would that have for him? Right. Yeah.
Okay, so another super chat by Dave. Thank you, Dave. Sid Dave, excuse me. Saying India may be indirectly involved, but not directly. It may be a gang war in India, being in touch with gangsters who did it and knowing it will happen.
Yeah, but then okay,
So
so
that isn't that equivalent as putting a hit out on him? At least in
yeah,
America, that's still considered a party to a murder.
yeah. I mean, that's exactly what the Iranian government does. Like when they want
Yeah.
to kill somebody in the U.S., they don't send their own soldiers there. They don't send their own assassins there. They go hire local assassins in United States. But that will still make them directly responsible if they have done that, right? Yeah.
Um. So D gave us a super chat. Thank you, D. Saying please Google Jashwant Singh. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. I think this news might be plausible. And in the background, I was uh looking into his Wikipedia page because I'm not familiar with this person. But basically, it seems like he was a human rights activist in India who was responsible for researching 25,000 illegal killings involving the Punjab police, and including the police killing 2,000 police officers who refused to cooperate. And it seems like he was kidnapped and then murdered by the Punjab police in the 1990s. Um,
Where? Where was this guy?
in India, in Punjab.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Indian government doing something like that in India, I could completely believe that. Okay? No, we're not. This is on a different. Okay, doing this on Canadian soil, I want people to understand what level of escalation we're talking about here. This is unimaginable, right? This is, again, this is stuff like, for example, let me say, Saudi Arabia, okay, killing somebody in Saudi Arabia. I was like, of course, okay. Saudi Arabia killing somebody in the Saudi embassy on its foreign soil, I'm like, yeah, okay. But Saudi Arabia killing somebody on Canadian soil, on US soil, I would be like, okay, even Saudi Arabia is not that crazy. Okay. So only Iranian government is that crazy. Okay. Only maybe like North Korean and Iranian governments would be that crazy to do stuff like that. But if I don't expect that, or Russians too. Okay, Russian government too. Okay, killing people on foreign soil. But India's government killing somebody on foreign soil, I could completely believe maybe like some people within the government of India kill somebody on Indian soil, completely believable. On Canadian soil, that's a completely different game. Yeah.
Okay, so next super chat. Go ahead.
But somebody saying, but didn't Saudi order a hit on Khashoggi? Yeah, but that was in their embassy. That's
Technically
Saudi.
That's Saudi territory.
That is Saudi. That is still Saudi soil. But yeah, go on.
Technically, it is.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy with these Khalistani activists because they go and break into and do vandalism and destroy property of India consulates. So that's literally like an attack on Indian soil that's like allowed to happen on their foreign territory, so to speak, which is ridiculous. Right. Can I tell a short story? When I was in San Francisco, the Indian consulate was really close to me. And I remember one day I was walking to get my coffee, as I do, and I was walking past, and all of a sudden I hear all this noise. And I look and I see these yellow flags, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the Khalistanis. And so I go running towards them because me being me, and I was just fascinated. And then I started to get closer, and then I was immediately like, abort, abort, abort. I am intimidated. This is not a friendly crowd. I am not here for this. I gotta leave. I gotta go. But I remember seeing this giant like protest in front of the consulate, and then I was looking and I could see this like consulate worker like wearing a sari like standing in the window upstairs like watching them all this stuff. And I don't know if it happened.
Your audio got cut.
Or
hello, your audio got cut.
Oh, okay. I was basically saying that I don't know.
Wait, guys. Do you have audio for Susie?
What?
Oh, is it my audio that got cut?
Can you hear me?
Is my audio there? I
I
can't
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Can you guys hear Susie? Let me see if other
What's
people can.
happening?
Oh yeah, you can. Okay, you keep talking. I will fix my.
Okay. Well, basically, I was saying that I don't know if they had the incident where they actually damaged the property of the San Francisco consulate on that day, or if it was a different day. But I think it's like utterly shameful that the SFPD would allow that to happen. That's a total dereliction of duty. But it's also the San Francisco police. So dereliction of duty is kind of the name of the game. Um
Okay,
so
my Bluetooth just got disconnected for no apparent reason, but now
okay,
it's back.
no problem.
Yeah.
Sid Dave gave another super chat saying the problem is immigrants importing their problems, not assimilating, and now their problem is impacting the new country's foreign policy. How do we solve that? Now that is the question for the ages.
Problem is immigrants
I
importing their
really don't
problems.
know.
Better filters, I guess, for immigration, but yet maybe too little, too late. How the problem is impacting the new countries.
Yeah, well, I mean, giving political asylum to a bunch of people accused of terrorism probably is a bad first step.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
What the
Yeah,
fuck, Canada?
yeah, yeah.
And then
Good
not extraditing them when asked politely through the appropriate diplomatic channels. I don't know.
Mogambo just became a member because of Secular Sakai buying Mogambo a membership. So thank you, Secular Sakai, for the gift of membership to Mogambo.
She has seen in San Francisco, people shit on the streets like in India. It's true. You're killing me. Oh my God. There was actually a study that came out about how the streets of San Francisco are comparable, if not more dirty than streets in third world countries. I've been to third world countries where the streets are cleaner than San Francisco. I'm not even kidding. I returned to San Francisco and I'm like, wow, it's a lot dirtier here. Oh God.
I mean, I'm glad that these are sharing cultures with each other. This is the kind of cultural enrichment. You can bond over this with each other.
Guys, these are jokes. Don't be offended. SFL gave us 7 Canadian dollars just with a bunch of clapping signs. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for clapping for
By the way, Shikha is from India, guys. Don't blame us for this comment. Okay, she's from India. Okay.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yes, it's a joke.
The stuff about San Francisco is not a joke, though. That's true.
The India one is true too. Yeah.
Gasian American, thank you again for another super chat. By PRC standards, the Dalai Lama is a terrorist.
Oh wait, so PRC.
You're talking about border integrity.
What? He doesn't have weapons. I said, like, if you are allowed to be a separatist, if you are just using your voice, you just like, we want to separate. Okay, please give us our own country. That is allowed. You should be able to do that. It's called freedom of speech. Okay, it's called freedom of political activity. I'm only talking about separatists who pick up arms. They are the terrorists. There we go.
Yeah. Shikha once again coming out with a banger, saying actually it's decreasing in India. Well, in San Francisco it's increasing. Again, she ain't lying.
Yeah, true. That's not lying.
If you right, you right.
True. Okay.
Dave gave us another super chat. Wow, so generous today. Thank you. Saying,
thank you.
Khalistan sympathizers are not like Iranian dissidents. Khalistan is against India as a state, whereas Iranian dissidents are against a regime. Motivation matters. Anyone who wants to be a religious ethno-state is wrong. Well, I
of course.
I pretty much agree.
I don't. Well, I mean, we didn't compare them, but yeah, we pretty much, of course, they're not the same. Yeah,
I agree. Because most Iranian dissidents aren't challenging Iran's border integrity. Also, there are some. There's some
hell no.
separatists and stuff, but that's yeah.
The Iranian dissidents are very, very, very much aggressively sometimes are in favor of their border integrity. Like they will. And that's for a lot of them, it's the number one priority. So yeah, Iranian dissidents,
sure,
it's a red line. Yeah, Iranian dissidents are the vast majority of them would never be in favor of any separatist movement.
And the ones that show any modicum of sympathizing, they get boofed fast.
yes, exactly.
For good reason, I think. Indominus Rex gave us 100 rupees. Thank you. Saying his father did one as well, refused to extradite Talwinder Parmar, who ended up bombing Kanishka, killing 300 Canadians. Oh, so you're talking about the Air Canada bombing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so next we have another super chat by Sid Dave saying Khalistan is the most low IQ separatist movement in the history, the fanatical, landlocked religious ethno-state between India and Pakistan with no access to sea and totally dependent on Pakistan to survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a terrible idea to begin with.
It's like shooting yourself in the foot. Like, yay, we win by losing. Like, if you win, like you're hurting your own people. It's crazy.
Yeah. It kind of is like how, in a theoretical sense, I think Kurds would benefit from having their own state just because they're so persecuted. You know, kind of like how I think Jews are justified in wanting their own state because of the level of persecution, and they should have a place where they can go to be safe. But then if there was a Kurdistan actually in that area, it's like the worst neighborhood to be in ever. So
Kurdistan I know the Kurdish people have been abused a lot. They have been discriminated against a lot, but having their own country is not the right solution. It's over.
At this point in time, it's a horrible idea.
It's over. The time of changing borders and making new countries has been done for the modern solutions are now to just deal with the borders that we have right now, unless they're very, very rare situations. You know, you might want to change borders, but most of the time, this is the borders that we have. We have to think of other solutions. No more building new countries. We're over with that. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. Okay. Modernity requires to leave the borders where they are right now. Okay. We have better solutions for the problems that we're having. But yeah.
Okay. So last super chat for this news is Trudeau from JJ. Thank you, JJ. Saying Trudeau was under pressure of Khalistani radicals. He's being forced to do such things. How does the Canadian government even allow Khalistani radical road shows? Okay, well, that's a matter of freedom of expression and freedom of assembly.
Yeah.
They have a constitutional right to do those things. But what do you think about the accusation that he's under pressure from these radicals to do these things? I don't think that's necessarily justified accusation.
I think the political gain from that is very minor compared to the political loss and making a false accusation like that. So there's that.
Yeah.
He must be, I don't know. Somebody's very, I don't know who's being the dummy here. But somebody has lost their mind. I don't know who.
I don't know what happened, but someone lost their mind. Yeah. This is crazy. We're in crazy land.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. And we got another super chat from Sakai. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Sakai, saying, please Google the biggest conference for atheists in India you covered last year. It is coming up soon on October 1st in Kerala in the Nisha Gandhi Auditorium. It's called Essence Global. Yes, Essence Global is happening again this year. They had the largest meeting of atheists in the world.
We got an email about that asking us for covering it and supporting it. So we should
We
reply to
got
that
we got
email.
invited to attend actually, but we can't afford it right now.
Oh, wait, invited to attend in to go to in India?
Yeah, no, they're like there's been people trying to get us to go to this conference for 2 years now.
Okay, okay, okay. Do they know that we have like police FIRs against us?
Yeah, but those are in the north.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think it's a good idea for me and you to go to India, even if we could
Our
afford it.
lawyers
Because
told us not to for a while.
I think we guys, for people who are new here, me and Susie both have FIRs by police by filed against us in India. I have 4, I think. How many do you have? I have 4 against me.
I just have one. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
okay. I have 4. Okay, so yeah, we can't go to India. We will get arrested. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, no,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just a complete complaint. It's not like charges have been filed against us. That's on a different level. But
yeah. I know.
we were advised
Yeah.
against it, at least for a little while longer. Um,
Oh, wait,
and
wait, wait. Somebody had like, wait. Somebody says, Armin, what did you do? I posted pictures of sexy Kali, of a goddess, of a Hindu goddess. I was just admiring how sexy she is, and that's what got me into legal trouble. Yeah. For people who are new here, the fact that we posted the picture, I posted pictures of a Hindu goddess that was very sexy, and I admired her being very sexy, was so significant apparently in India that got our case all the way to the Supreme Court of India. We're not kidding, to the Supreme Court of India. So there's that. We made history in India. We made atheism trend in India for the first time. That's how big of a deal this was.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of new members during the last segment. Thank you guys. Ved, James Williamson, and JJ all became members of Satan's Minions. Welcome to hell.
Oh, that's good.
I also really loved this comment by Abijanu saying, I was feeling bad earlier about being an ex-Muslim in
Oh,
Pakistan, but being here makes me feel comfortable. And Abijanu, that means so much to us. That's literally why what we do what we do. This is what inspires our work. It's what keeps us motivated. And I think it also means a lot to the people in our global community to know that they are part of providing that sense of belonging to you as well. And Kenny just gave $10, 10 euros, excuse
thank you,
me,
guy.
just because. Thank you. And also,
Thank
one
you.
moment, I want to show that in the past segment, we also had a donation of $15 from Tobias. So
Oh,
thank you
thanks.
guys. I don't know. I think it might be cool at the end of every segment to see how our fundraiser is doing. So yes,
Yeah.
guys, thank you for supporting our fundraiser to make sure that our programming can continue. And with the support of you guys, I want to bring back our programming to the standard that which you are accustomed. So let's move on to the next segment.
Okay.
Oops.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
put
clicked
you
on the
back
wrong-
on the screen.
Okay,
I'm
ready.
gonna put you on the screen one more time. Okay. So, all
Man,
right. Can we clap?
you would think that you have a
Yes, I
small
know.
bladder.
No, I just drink. I just stay hydrated. All right. So, next news. So-
Next news, Iran's disturbing crackdown on Masa Amini's death anniversary. On the first anniversary of Masa Amini's death, a 22-year-old Kurdish woman arrested by Iran's morality police for allegedly violating the mandatory hijab law, tensions heightened in Iran and around the world. As Iranian authorities arrested Amini's father to stymie commemorations, widespread protests emerged. In Tehran, videos showed locals cheering young protesters, while rights activists like Narges Mohammadi and fellow detainees in Tehran's Evin prison made a symbolic gesture by burning their headscarves. Outside Iran, protesters convened in global cities like Paris, where a garden was renamed in Amini's honor, and Washington, D.C., where crowds chanted, "Say her name, Masa Amini," near the White House. Last year's protests over Amini's death resulted in over 500 fatalities, with 71 minors among those killed. US President Joe Biden reflected on the international impact, stating Mahsa's story did not end with her brutal death. She inspired a historic movement, woman, life, freedom, and that has impacted Iran and influenced people across the globe. So Armin, come back. Beautiful. I thought it was really important for us to cover what actually happened in Iran on Mahsa Amini's 1 year anniversary of her death, which was last weekend. And so we saw some protest activity, and I wanted to know what you saw, what you heard from our community in Iran, and also what the reactions have been. Because we've talked about it a little bit like privately behind the scenes. But I thought it'd be really, really valuable to share your insight with our community, because I know that our community particularly cares a lot about this issue. So tell us what you know about activities that we're seeing in Iran on September 16th.
Okay, so it was a lot lower than so many people were promising. But it happened. So people did show up in protest, and a lot of pro-government people were saying that nothing would happen, and a lot of anti-government opposition, were saying that people will show up in millions, and this will be the last day. And we on our Persian Atheist Republic channel, like sane people, were advocating to please do not overpromise. This is going to be, because a lot of people were thinking on the anniversary, a lot of people will show up, and we were like, well, that's insane, because the government will be ready. Like, this is the first wave of the protest when it happened after Mahsa's killing. It caught the government off by surprise. This one, they knew the anniversary would be something that a lot of people would want to do something about it. They want to come, so they were prepared. They had everybody ready. Like, there was like the military presence in the streets were all over the place. So they were completely ready. So obviously there was, and a lot of people also knew that there would be a lot of, the government was ready to respond. So a lot of people were scared to show up. So given all of that, I didn't expect a lot of people to show up. And I was advocating on our Persian channel, for example, to a lot of people that, when you keep over promising to people and something less happens, you're making people lose hope. But if you lower the expectation and something more happens, that's the way that you should go forward with this. Because what happened on the anniversary, I was selling it as a success because people did show up, which the way I was explaining it is like, with all that preparation, with all the military presence, the government could not shut down the protests. And this is how you should have looked at it, because the only way that you made this, you turned this into a loss, was because you promised so much to people. But if you looked at it from a different perspective, that if anything happened, that would still be a win, because it showed that the people still have power to have some protests, even with all that preparation. That means that when the government isn't ready like that, people still are able to do something even bigger. Because the anniversary of Mahsa's killing is never going to be like the time Mahsa, the main characteristic of what happened was that it was sudden. You had the element of surprise. So if that is to repeat itself at some point, it would require the element of surprise as well. And an anniversary, based on definition, does not have the element of surprise, right? So that's one thing. So yeah, so basically the summary is that there were protests, but much less than so many people expected it. I said that the fact that there was any protest was still a win. Another thing that I could tell you is that the son of the previous king of Iran, who's considered to be the main figure, in the most popular figure when it comes to Iranian opposition against the Islamic Republic. Some people consider him to be the crown prince. They call him the crown prince. So Reza Pahlavi, this was a significant moment for him because he came out and gave, for the first time, a call out for people to show up in the streets. And people say, well, this is, a lot of people kind of challenge him as him being the leader of the opposition or not being the leader of the opposition. So this was a test to see if people respond to him. And it kind of failed, I think, because he gave a specific chant for people to give. And there was only one video I saw that people used that chant. So
Oh,
it didn't work out very well for him. So it kind of, in response to him asking people to come out and give a certain chant, there was not that big of a response. So yeah, so there's that.
yeah. Secular Sakai gave the lion, sun, and sword emojis saying "Zan Zandagi Azadi." There's probably a lot of people that are wondering, like, where do you think this is headed next? What do you think?
Okay, so I think that the way we should look at this is, things could change dramatically. How I do personally, I think the chances of a toppling by the people overnight, that scenario is unlikely. But again, things change, right? Like the factors change, and when you make predictions, your predictions are so loose because we're talking about social issues that are dependent on so many things. Like, for example, if you saw the Romanian Revolution, things seemed like completely in the hands of the government, and overnight, all of a sudden, something happened that made the whole thing crumble, right? But based on what the factors are like right now, what I see likely, it's a soft revolution rather than a hard revolution, right? So a hard revolution looks like this. A hard revolution looks like people come into the streets in millions and overpower the armed forces, and the government falls, and the people come and they introduce a new government, and the people in the previous government that were responsible for human rights violations, they go on trial. That's what we call, at least in Iran, we call a hard revolution. A soft revolution, on the other hand, is a revolution that the people come and put pressure on the government. There is a fear of a collapse, but the collapse does not happen in the way that I described it. So the threat of a hard revolution makes a soft revolution possible. And a soft revolution happens because the people's power is slowly increasing relative to the government's power. And the government, not because it wants to, but because it's forced to by the people, keeps changing its characteristics one by one, to the point that everything changes, to the point that it's not what it was before. And I think this is a more likely scenario. However, there are a couple of things that, if it happens, that might change the scenario from a soft revolution to a hard revolution. One of them would be the death of Khamenei. Another one would be, and I've been saying the same thing for the past 3 years. These are the three events that could turn this from a soft revolution to a hard revolution: the death of Khamenei, satellite internet becoming completely accessible in Iran, or a major drop in the price of oil and gas. One of these three, one of them, two of them, or all three of them together will increase the chances of a complete toppling of the government. But right now, I don't think that's likely, but things can change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. That's very interesting. So speaking of Iran, what's going on? Our next news is about continuing the, I don't know, almost like the Talibization of the Iranian regime. So let's go to the next story. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Next news.
Next news. Iran approves gender apartheid bill. 10 years in prison for not wearing the hijab. In a contentious move, Iran's parliament has greenlit a bill that may imprison women for up to a decade if they breach the nation's mandatory hijab regulations. Beyond the toughened penalties for dress code violations, this law also targets individuals who mock or promote nudity in both virtual and physical spaces. Drawing international concern, UN human rights experts labeled it, quote, tantamount to gender apartheid, asserting a disturbing aim of forcing Iranian women into, quote, total submission. Highlighting the gravity of the situation, Iranian human rights lawyer Hussein Raisi stated, Iran was already an open prison for its women. This bill merely amplifies the tyranny they face daily. The bill's approval coincides with the first anniversary of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini's death in custody, a young woman detained for allegedly wearing the hijab incorrectly, sparking widespread protests and global outcry. So Armin, this is obviously a big deal. This so-called hijab and chastity bill was very contentious, and most people aren't surprised that it passed the parliament. But I saw some Iranian commentators basically saying that the regime is taking a note from the Taliban and basically attempting to completely erase women from the public space. What do you think about that analysis or commentary?
Yeah, no, they don't have the power to do that. It's too hard to do this in Iran. Iran is not like Afghanistan. It has moved so past that. Like, this is not something the government of Iran is able to do. Like, the women of Iran are such a major part of society that there is no way that you could do to women in Iran what the Taliban has done in Afghanistan. Like, it's impossible. Like, it's so no, I don't think so. Also, by the way, this does seem like a step backwards, but it only looks like a step backwards if you focus on what's happening in the short term. If you zoom out a little bit, then this is not a step backwards. So it's like it goes up and down, right? It's not like a linear line. But every time we go down, if you look at it, so if you look at 2 years back, it looks like we went backwards, right? But just if you look at your window of observation, just make it 5 years, you always see that you have come a lot forward to what the standards were 5 years ago, right? So this is just a give and take, and this is part of them taking from their turn. And they actually, the government of Iran is forced to loosen up these laws, over 5-year horizons, but the reason why sometimes they need to take a step back is because there are too many religious radicals in Iran that have a lot of influence in the government, but the government itself understands that for its own survival, it needs to at some point loosen these laws. Like, it cannot keep this up forever. But so the trick is to loosen up the laws and get the religious radicals to cry about it, and then toughen up the laws, but toughen up the laws not to the point that goes all the way back to how it was before. So I think they are playing this game pretty well, because it does shut up the radicals. So, for example, these religious once the Master Revolution, for example, happened, a lot of these religious radicals were out there asking for executions. They were asking for hundreds of executions. They were
asking for open murder in the street. Let's be clear.
Yes. And they were asking for hundreds of thousands of prisoners, political prisoners, to all of them, for all of them to be executed, right? But then the government has to, the government is afraid of this. The government is being pressured from two sides: from the liberals, the liberal people who are against the government, and they're huge in number, the secular and liberal people who are huge in number and they're against the government, but also the religious radicals who are fewer in number. They're a small percentage of the country, but they are a lot more radical and they're a lot more influential, and they on the government as well. So it's basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. So for example, when it came to the executions, the government knew it had to, throw some meat at these lions to get them quiet, right? It executed one person to see if it will satisfy them, and then a second one, and then a third one, and then a fourth one, right? And then they were happy, like they were so bloodthirsty. Like, you could see how joyful they were with the executions. But after 4, they stopped. So they were asking for hundreds and thousands of execution, and after 4, you could see that desire, that anger for why the government is not killing the political prisoners had died down a little bit. So the government is realizing that whenever they loosen up the laws, when the religious radicals get angry, they have to toughen up again, but they don't need to go, because they have like fish memory, right? A lot of them don't remember that when you toughen up the laws, you're not toughening it up all the way back to where it was, and they just get happy. This will satisfy them. So this is a game that the government is playing, going up and down with these laws. But overall, the trend is upwards. But this is not out of the kindness of the government. This is because, as I mentioned, the people's power are increasing relative to the government, right? So the people are. It used to be that people thought that they could reform this government, could negotiate with this government. Now everybody recognizes that there's only one language that this government understands, and that's the language of intimidation, force, and threats, right? So that's what's working for people. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense, and I think you're very apt in expressing it that way. Right. I have some amazing news. Sakai offered to match the next donation to the fundraiser, thereby doubling the impact of next person's contribution. And Kenny gave $50, which means that the donation was doubled to $100. Look at how close, you guys, we are to meeting our goal. That's incredible. So thank you so much to Sakai and Kenny. Yeah. Sakai, and then gave a super chat to us to tell us that about Kenny's donation and about his doubling. So he said, "Thank you, Kenny Demeter, for donating $51.52. I have doubled your donation amount. Long live the Atheist Republic." Well, thank you so much to both of you guys. If you guys find value in our programming and you support our community and you love to see what our community can do to other people and the community and comfort that it brings to them, you can help us continue our programming, and you can use this via the link in the top of the description, and also the link that I just put in our live chat. And I also want to answer a question from Kenny. He's saying, which method of support do you prefer, PayPal or Super Chat? I guess each take a cut, but which one leaves you with the most? The way that you could support us the most right now would be to sign up to be a $10 monthly donor. If we get 50 $10 monthly donors, then we will be able to bring back our news writers and our news programming to the full quality that you guys are accustomed to. And this will help us stabilize our finances and really make sure our operations are running smoothly and consistently. So I think that is the best way that people can help support us. Some people might be like, oh, I want to give more, blah, blah, blah. You're totally welcome to give more. But if we have 50 $10 monthly donors, then this is actually one of the best ways to help us as an organization in the long term. But thank you, Kenny, for your donation, and thank you for asking. This really does help us a lot. Um,
We have
and
to.
sorry, go ahead.
We're getting close to our. I can't believe it. This has been 3 days. We're
I
getting
know.
to our goal. Like
Amazing.
it's almost there. It's almost there. I can't believe this. This is crazy. Okay, but go on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
Thank
just
you, guys.
incredible to see the support that we've been given.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really it means so much to us. And it means a lot to everyone who, comes here every week. So let's go to the next news. And unfortunately, we should not clap for this.
Okay. Next news.
Okay, next news. Indian Muslim killed by mob at a mosque for quote unquote insult to Hindu king. This is absolutely ridiculous. And okay, there's some details here, so like pay attention and I can make sure to clarify the details. Okay. So, in a tragic event in the Satara district of the western Indian state of Maharashtra, Nurul Hassan, a 31-year-old Muslim civil engineer, was brutally killed by a Hindu mob at a mosque in Puse Sawali village. The genesis of this violent confrontation was a controversial social media post about this name Chhatrapati Shivaji, a renowned 17th century Hindu king. While initial accusations suggested a Muslim boy's involvement, it was later revealed that a Hindu man named Amar Arjun Shinde was responsible. He allegedly hacked into the Muslim miner's Instagram account to post the contentious comment, sparking intense friction between the two communities. An anonymous police officer from the Satara disclosed that Shinje's actions were rooted in a personal rivalry with the Muslim boy over a mutual female classmate on Instagram. As authorities were in the midst of unraveling this convoluted situation, the mosque was ambushed, leading to Hassan's death. In a heartfelt conversation with Al Jazeera, Hassan's grief-stricken father, Mohammed Liaquat, remarked, "My entire world was shattered when I saw my son's lifeless body on the bed. In that moment, I couldn't believe what was unfolding before my eyes." So let's break down what happened here. This is so messed up. So, because this man that was murdered had nothing to do with the situation. He had nothing to do with the controversy. He was literally just a Muslim guy that was at the wrong place at the wrong time. So what happened was apparently there was a Hindu guy and a Muslim guy. And the Muslim guy, he was like a kid. I don't know exactly how old, but he was legally a minor. And had a friendship or maybe a romantic interest, it's not entirely clear, with a girl. I don't know the background of this girl. Then there was this Hindu guy, I think was actually like legally an adult, who also had an interest with this girl. And he was jealous of the Muslim boy's relationship with this girl. So he hacked into his account and posted a bunch of comments insulting this, revered Hindu king that helped fight off the Mughal invasion, And this sparked massive...
By the way,
Go
for
ahead.
people who don't know, the Mughal invasion was the Islamic army. Just so
Yeah.
for people who don't know. Yeah. Okay, go on.
So this fueled massive communal tensions in the area. And to the point that the police got involved, and the police even determined that it was not the Muslim boy that posted this. Because, oftentimes it's like, oh, my account was hacked, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, was it really though? Or especially with blasphemy accusations, they just blame that person anyways. Not that this is necessarily blasphemy. And so they even went to go on and identify that it was this Hindu man that was the actual perpetrator for the insult. But these comments or these insults to this Hindu king went viral and were causing a lot of tension in the area. to the point that around the exact same time that the police determined that this was basically a false flag, that this was all hacked and this was done over a personal rivalry over some random girl, a mob of 150 to 200 people stormed this mosque that only had 15 people inside at the time, destroyed the property, burned Qurans, and started beating people. With the people who witnessed it were like, they were there to kill all of us. And this man, Nurul Hassan, was beaten with iron rods to death. The only mercy being that he seemingly died almost immediately. The only mercy being that it doesn't seem like he suffered for very long. And because of some random person weaponizing communal disharmony and knowing that they can use that person's Muslim identity against them to weaponize rage of a community against them, now this random man leaves behind his newlywed wife who's 7 months pregnant and his elderly parents that now have to somehow fulfill a debt that he had accrued. He had invested in some stuff to try to, build a business for his family. And now they have the weight of the debt from this investment on their shoulders. And it's like this pregnant woman and his like elderly parents that are now in this position, and their son is taken from them over something he had literally zero involvement with. He was just like a Muslim dude at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's so despicable. Like this is, and there was an interesting comment from Haris Sultan. He posted about this on Twitter. In fact, let me bring it up really quick because I thought I liked the way that he put it. Give me 1 second. Here we go.
Are people arrested? Okay, for this?
I believe there have been some arrests. Yeah. So Horace posted this and he's saying a Muslim man was killed by a mob over insulting a Hindu king who fought Aurangzeb. I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly. This is what happens when you radicalize your people, whether in the name of religion or history or politics. The end result is always the same: violence. As it turns out, a Hindu boy was jealous of a Muslim boy's friendship with a girl, orchestrated this whole quote unquote anti-Hindu post, which went viral. This is exactly what Muslims do in Pakistan. Whether they want to settle a score with a non-Muslim in Pakistan, they make anti-Muslim posts from non-Muslim accounts on social media, and the geniuses amongst the population take care of the rest. And I thought that was, like drawing that comparison to how blasphemy accusations are weaponized to settle personal scores in Pakistan, I thought was very interesting. What's your reaction to all this?
Okay, I know I'm being too picky. I mean, I think Harris's statement is really good. I just, instead of saying this is exactly what Muslims do in Pakistan, I would add like a qualifier to make sure that we're not generalizing all Muslims in Pakistan, like maybe like radical Muslims or many Muslims, but just like not all Muslims do that. So I just want to,
but
just that
aside, what do you think about the story as a whole?
I mean, it's horrific, of course. Like, is it, again, I keep wondering if this is getting worse and worse and worse, and I don't know. It just scares me. I feel like this is, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I'm just feeling like this is all adding up to some explosive event at some point. Like, I feel like we're watching a train, moving towards a cliff. I feel like something is going to happen, and then when it happens, like a major thing is going to happen in India at some point. And we saw, like, yeah, of course, we like all these. I'm not hoping that this becomes true, and I don't know if this is accurate. I just feel like this is like a evidence of the train that we are on is moving towards the cliff, and something major is about to happen in India. Am I wrong about this? Do you think like I am exaggerating?
I hope you're wrong. I definitely hope
Yeah.
you're wrong. Yeah, and it's kind of difficult to know to what extent is this um actually escalating, and to what extent is us it just we now hear about these things more, you know? But there is a wealth
Yeah.
of information to demonstrate how um hate crimes have exploded since 2014 in India.
Yeah. I just think like it's a bloodbath is about to come. If some like, and I think like the Indian government doesn't seem to be interested in stopping it, but because it's
Mm,
benefiting from all this. Like I think the BJP is benefiting a lot from all this tension, and I just don't know. It's such a shame. Again, guys, I we don't say this because uh, we're not optimistic about India, because we think India has a lot of I feel like when we talk about India, it's the same as when we talk about Nigeria, right? That's the difference, because for Pakistan right now we're not seeing, unfortunately we're not seeing much potential for Pakistan. We're just hoping for something to change, but it's just like it just seems to be doom and gloom. But with countries like India and Nigeria, there's just so much potential. And India, again, don't get me wrong, India is just going to uh, grow in spite of all of this. But there's so much untapped potential that is being destroyed. Like India is could be so much as great as it is. I just think it could be so much better. And given all the opportunities and all uh, the life that India could bring for a lot of Indians, a lot of poor Indians that are, you see there's standards of living constantly changing and people are having better and better lives. It's just such a shame if a major conflict, ethnic conflict in India keeps rising and just comes in the way of all of that. Like, we're not saying these things to be anti-India. We want India to progress. We want to see a better future for India, and it's just it just such a shame that something as stupid as religion and ethnic tensions comes in the way of that. I mean, it's not ethnic because they're kind of the same mix, but they think it's ethnic tensions, right? Um, but yeah. Anyways, that's all I have to say. I just think I'm just scared. I'm just scared for I don't think that I am unjustifiably paranoid, and I don't think I'm fear mongering, because we also had, I remember, if you remember, we had um uh what is it called, a genocide expert at some point, or
yeah,
that
that's
was
exactly what Dee
expressing
was
this.
bringing up. She's saying, remember the words of
Yeah.
Genocide Watch President Gregory Stanton, yeah, who accurately
Yes. Yes.
predicted the Rwandan genocide.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have people that is their entire work is to study genocide and to be able to predict genocides, are raising the alarm about the situation in India. So I don't want to be doom gloomy. I don't want to be fear mongering. But I also don't want us not to bring attention to the signs of horrible things that seem to be able to, like, raising red flags, raising the alarm is not fear mongering. It's an attempt to try to stop something from like this from happening, not to welcome it. I don't know. I hope I'm not adding because I don't want to be toxic. I don't want to add unnecessarily pessimistic um, forecasts and fear mongering, because social media is already poisoned with a lot of that. People love to spread fear because they grab an audience. But I also don't want to avoid something that is being, a lot of experts and a lot of evidence seems to actually be suggesting that we're moving in that way. I don't want to ignore that either. I don't know if I am meeting that balance accurately well or not, but I'm doing my best. I'm trying to do that.
No, I think
Yeah.
you are, because you're doing it in a very earnest and thoughtful way. And you're doing it
Yeah.
cautiously. Like, yeah, that's as
Yeah.
responsible as
Yeah.
you can get.
Yeah, I think the best way to do it is to mention to the audience the struggle that you're having in your mind, and they could, like, I think your audience would appreciate how sensitive this topic is. Okay, because again, um, I don't want our audience to be anti-Indian because we cover bad news about India, right? That's why I constantly highlight the great things about India. I don't want people in our audience to be anti-Pakistan because we highlight bad things about Pakistan. The way that you have to consume bad news from different countries is not to turn against those countries, is to see that bad news. Being against that bad news is because you wish the best for that country, not because you're against that country. We are pro India, we're pro Pakistan, we are pro Israel, we are pro Palestine, we're pro Nigeria, we're pro Iran. Okay, we are against the bad news because we are for these countries. Anyways, I'm gonna stop.
In exciting news, Kenny said, "Thank you for the explanation. Signing up for a monthly donation." And Sakai said, "I will also sign up for a monthly donation." So thank you guys for doing that. I saw that on our fundraiser page. So let me just remind everyone that right now we are working to better sustain our news show and bring back our news programming. And we can do that if we get 50, or now we just need 48 $10 monthly donors. So please, if you go to this link in the live chat and then click on the $10 button and then say, make this a monthly donation, this goes a long ways in continuing our programming and bringing this show to you guys every week. Every week we do this. So thank you guys. Thank you for your generosity. And now we just have 48 more to go. But I think that's very achievable.
Yes.
Because, I mean, we have already blown our own expectations about how this fundraiser was going to go.
Yeah.
So if we can do that, we can definitely achieve this goal. So
wait,
let's go. Oh, go ahead.
Is the next one, which one do I have the right one up?
You got the right one.
Yeah. Okay. So is it okay? We can't clap for this one at all. Never mind.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay.
Next news: how a YouTuber's honor killing exposed Iraq's outdated laws. Tiba Al-Ali, a vivacious YouTuber, relocated from Iraq to Turkey and shared her experiences with a broad online audience. During a return visit to her hometown, Diwania in Iraq, she was tragically strangled in her sleep by her father, Tayyip Ali. Shockingly, he received a mere 6 month prison sentence due to Iraq's lenient stance on honor killings. Article 409 of the Iraqi Penal Code, for instance, permits reduced punishments for those who commit violent acts against family members if they, quote unquote, had honorable motives or were, quote, provoked by perceived acts of dishonor. Dr. Leila Hussein, a human rights activist, commented on the deep-rooted misogyny of such actions, noting, quote, "These killings are often rooted in misogyny and a desire to control women's bodies and behavior." Tiba's heartbreaking story, combined with the controversy of Article 409, has catalyzed a wave of protests and demands for legal reform in Iraq, spotlighting the country's urgent need to ensure better protection for women. So this is obviously heartbreaking. This is so disgusting on so many levels. One, so part of the contention or argument with her family seems to have been she originally left Iraq to go to Turkey to further her education, and then she stayed because she enjoyed the life that she could have there more. And so they didn't like that she left Iraq to go to Turkey. And they also seem to have some, they didn't like that she had a Syrian fiance, or they didn't like who her fiance was. And for this, she was murdered in her sleep by her own father. And for this, I mean, it's so obtuse to be like, oh, well, he gets a 6-month sentence because he was provoked by how she dishonored him. Provoked. into strangling her in her sleep when you're literally the most vulnerable and defenseless, it's like beyond shameful and mind numbing. Armin, I would love to get your quick reaction while I look for another piece about this story that I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, I just want to remind people that this is because of Islam, okay? This is not just because of politics. This is not just because of culture. This is not just because of socioeconomic factors. All of those things are factors, of course. They all have an influence. But also, and mostly, I would say, it's because of Islam. This is definitely Islam. And don't let anybody tell you that it's not Islam, because Islam considers to be a sin. It is true that Islam considers this act of violence to be a sin. However, Islam also makes this possible because Islam considers the punishment for a father that kills their own daughter to be very low. If he killed his son, the punishment would be significantly higher Islamically. Islam also promotes honor culture. And Islam also allows, and no, it does not allow, it commands beating women. So, given the normalization of violence against women in Islam, given the normalization of honor culture in Islam, and given the low punishment for killing girls and women in Islam, these together does cause events like this to happen. So some Muslims would try to come and say this has nothing to do with Islam because Islam considers to be a sin. It's true that Islam considers to be a sin, but that does not mean Islam is not because of those three things. So they ignore these three other things that I told you. You know, the fact that you do not get punished much. Like if you say like you are trying to cleanse your family's honor, and you also look at the punishment for an act like this, and you see your family's honor is worth 6 months, 8 months in prison. It's nothing. The punishment is very low. So they will go with it. If the punishment was higher, a lot of these events would be not happening. It will still happen, but it will be much lower. Right? So this is definitely because of Islam. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
I agree, and I want it because, and that's as evidenced as the way that these laws are even put in the penal code. So here's an example, and here's a quote from the article. For instance, Article 41 of Iraq's penal code, quote, the punishment of a wife by her husband and the disciplining of parents, quote, the disciplining by parents of children under their authority within certain limits are considered legal rights. So punishments of wives and children within quote unquote certain limits are legal rights. Wow. Article 409, meanwhile, states, quote, any person who surprises his wife in the act of adultery or finds one of his female dependents in bed with her lover and kills them immediately, or one of them, or assaults one of them so that he or she dies or is left permanently disabled, is punishable by a period of detention not exceeding 3 years. And it's very clear this is about your wife or female dependents. So because you had the misfortune of just happening to be born female in this country, your life is worth less and you are afforded less legal protection under the law simply by virtue of your sex that you were born with, that you had no control over. And your subjugation is therefore justified and validated and legitimized by the state itself. Which, yeah, it just pisses me off so much. And I think it's kind of partially because lately I've been thinking in my mind about women's rights through the lens of individual liberty. And for me, it's interesting when you think about it that way, because you're like, okay, so this person is afforded less liberty and protection by the state by a mere misfortune of their sex, right? instead of framing it through like a sociological, patriarchal lens necessarily. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's horrible and it's disappointing, but it's important that we talk about these things because we have to remember that this is something that thousands, hundreds of thousands of people live with as a daily reality around the world. And these laws have consequences.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know what else to say. Sorry that we have to cover a story like this. Sorry, guys.
No, but it's important. It's important.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, we did have some comments from Secular Sakai that I don't know if we highlighted this one. Do you want to read this one?
Yes. Oh yeah, Sakai is saying small aside about Rwanda. Oh, this was about our last segment. Paul, ooh, this is tough. Ruse Abagina, the man from Hotel Rwanda, was finally released from prison in Rwanda. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Through a lot of diplomatic negotiating. Yeah.
Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
Oh God. Well,
Yeah.
we don't like this, but it's much better in comparison.
Yeah, and we haven't been getting any claps like today. So I'm just going to take this one, okay? Next news.
Next news. America's shocking turn towards theocratic laws. In the aftermath of the landmark reversal of Roe v. Wade, the National Association of Christian Lawmakers, or NACL for short, is fervently working to reshape American legislative landscape. Established in 2019 by Jason Rappert, a former Arkansas state senator known for his staunch opposition to gay marriage and advocacy for a Ten Commandments monument at the Arkansas State House, the NACL aims to revert America to what its members perceive as its Judeo-Christian roots. Currently having representation in all 50 states, the organization is leveraging the momentum of the Roe v. Wade decision to promote what they term as, quote, biblically informed laws. They've actively circulated at least 15 pieces of model legislation addressing issues ranging from abortion bans to the condemnation of gay marriage. Notably, the group's initiatives are backed by significant donations from conservative powerhouses, including the Alliance for Defending Freedom, the First Liberty Institute. While the NACL's endeavors have found resonance among many conservative lawmakers, the move is polarizing, with critics emphasizing the constitutional principle of separation of church and state. So I wanted to cover this story because this is a really interesting piece written on Religion News, which is a site I follow very closely. Basically, it exposes how there are whole organizations and coalitions of lawyers and lawmakers who are joining together to publicly, vocally, and explicitly remove and destroy secularism. Like that's an explicit goal that they have. They want, as they term, biblically informed laws. And they have made a bunch of model legislation that they basically pass out to people who are in office. And basically, it's like they drafted what they think these laws should look like. And then they give them to people who are in office to then put them to the floor of whatever, state senate or, that they operate in. So this is obviously very terrifying. This reading this article had me shaking in my boots. But Armin, can you scroll down a little bit? Because there's one portion of this that I want to read. It's this image that should be popping up. Wait, keep on going. Okay, here we go. Can you zoom in so we can read that? Okay. So this is part of their statement of purpose. It's from the NACL. Beliefs concerning the need for NACL. We believe our nation is in decline due to the moral and spiritual decay of our culture, including churches and institutions, as evidenced by the number of abortions, violence, and civil unrest, and disrespect for the traditions of our country. 2, we believe atheists and anti-Christian groups have recently been more strategic in pursuing their godless worldview through the courts and legislation than Christians. These groups are becoming more aggressive and are trampling on the Christian liberty we have enjoyed in this country for centuries. They must be opposed. Needless to say, that second statement caught my attention. Armin, what's your reaction? I saw you go, oh, hey, atheist, that's
yeah. I mean, I wish what he was saying is true. I don't think they have been very strategic. I think the main thing that they have going for them is demographics. But they could be more strategic. I wish, but but I think given that they're such a minority and still have such an influence on US politics, shows that they are the ones who are being more strategic. I mean, if everybody was not being strategic, naturally liberalism and secularism should just succeed just on a pure numbers game. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I think they just have a lot more money behind them. We just need more. We need atheists to organize better. We need atheists to actually strategize, atheists and secular activists to strategize better and donate to, atheist organizations that are, actively standing against this, which we like, for example, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, American Atheists.
American Atheists, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and Americans United for the Separation of Church and State are some of the top organizations that are actually doing the work to fight tooth and nail to still preserve secularism in this country.
Right. So they have the funds because they are serious about making sure they can control your lives. So atheists and secular activists, are you going to sit back and just take that? Are you going to act like, oh, this is religious people just asking for money, or like hand over the plate? Like, is this a church now? You keep saying that and then let your lives be ruled by these, Christian fundamentalists. This is how you lose your rights. This is why the most advanced country in the world apparently the women still don't have autonomy over their own body right now in the most advanced country in the world, because you guys don't stand up against forces like this. So yeah, be more like what that number 2 is describing. Atheists and anti-Christian groups, you have to be more strategic, as they're saying, in pursuing a godless worldview. That's use that as try to use that as a challenge.
Yeah, no, I like the way you put that, Armin. You're like, you see that second statement right there?
Yeah.
Take that as a challenge. Take that as personal inspiration. Yeah, these groups are becoming aggressive. Like, hell yeah, I'm becoming aggressive. I don't want to live under biblically informed laws. Thank you very much. Shocking. Yeah. I want to have the liberty to say, actually, I didn't sign up for this.
Exactly. Yeah, be more aggressive. We need that.
If you want to live under biblically informed laws, you can become a Christian and choose to live your life that way.
Perfect.
We don't live in a theocracy. I don't have to do that because I'm not a Christian. If you're the kind of Christian that thinks that you need to do that, then you go do that.
Yes. Your laws don't apply to me. Your rules are for you. You can't just force it upon other people, especially in the United States.
And also, Christians who think this way need to understand that this is for a specific view of Christianity. This is a violation of the Establishment Clause, because in the article they were trying to say that this isn't a violation of the Establishment Clause, but it is, because to establish biblically informed law, the state is in the business of making a claim about what is biblically informed law. that is establishing a state religion, because then it is making decisions upon what is and what is not within Christianity. And I don't know if you guys are
Right.
familiar with Christian history, but there seems to be a lot of contention over that.
Okay, we need to move on seriously because we are running out of time. I just want to make sure that yes. So, how many donations? I'm just keeping track of our
Yes,
donations.
we
I also
had
posted.
we had two more people. Well, no, we had another person sign up as a monthly donor in our last segment, or at least I think it was a
Wow.
monthly donor because they gave us $10. And Daniel also gave us close to $30. So thank you guys so much for giving to our fundraising campaign. Like I was saying earlier, the best way to support our news show going forward is to sign up as a $10 monthly donor. And we're going to keep this campaign going because every single person that signs up gives us one step closer to making sure that this show that you guys love can continue. And also, if you've been here this long, like, are you subscribed? Have you liked the video? I know we cover some really heavy topics, but I think overall we have a lot of fun. So yeah,
We
make sure
try.
you stay because we're approaching 40K. Our militia just on YouTube alone is approaching 40,000. So are you gonna join the army and join our global movement? Or are you gonna get out of the way? No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. We got a couple of super chats. Do you want to read those?
Yes. Gasian American is saying, oh, thank you for the super chat, Gasian. Hong Shu Chuan said he's the younger brother of Jesus. Do they have any restrictions on what kind of Christianity is allowed? Exactly. Exactly. How does this biblically informed law feel about claims of prophethood and being the Messiah? Huh? I have questions. I have concerns. Yusuf also gave $2. Thank you, Yusuf, saying, have you guys heard of Project 2025? It's related. I have not, but now I'm curious and I'm going to look into it.
It says Project 2025 is a far-right plan to purge and reshape the U.S. federal government in the event of a Republican victory in the 2024 United States presidential election. Yeah, I actually heard about this. It's basically they're trying to make sure, like basically going full fascist. So they're saying if Trump wins, they're going to try to completely what they describe, remove the deep state, all the forces that they think that made, well, all the forces that they think that made Trump not be able to reclaim the presidency, they all have to be eliminated. Basically, they want to go full fascist mode. That's what they're saying. But it's scary. It is very scary. Oh, we got 2 more super chats.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. So Sakai had a super chat. Thank you, Sakai. Saying for the super chat. Any updates on the Opry at the 1-year anniversary? So we are working on redoing the website, and we've also had a giant wave of excitement within our Persian AR community about this project. And so we're bringing on a bunch of new volunteers and hoping to really keep it going. We've had a lot of stuff stuck in the pipeline, partially because the capacity of my time is more than maxed out. It's overcommitted. And yeah, other stuff on our team. And
we got just 2 more. We got 2 more volunteers on Up Your End.
Exactly. That will really help us out. So we are making progress. What I'm looking for is someone on the Persian side of our organization to help me take over some of the project management responsibilities of this project. Because there's a lot of people that really, have a desire for it. And Sid.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead. But let's answer for shorter because I am running seriously running out. I have another show coming on the Persian show. Yes,
I know. Sid Dave gave $5. Thank you. And saying, weird question, but why do white nationalists not consider European Jews to be white? They are physically indistinguishable. Is this rooted in Christianity? Well, you should go talk to white nationalists.
No. Okay. Sid Dave, you're making a major false assumption asking this question. the assumption that I think you're going with is that white nationalists make sense, or they attempt to make sense, or that they are not all idiots. So I don't know why you're trying to apply any logic to this, because it doesn't apply here at all. So there's that. That's where you're making a mistake.
It's because they're Jewish and they follow a Jewish tradition. They might be
No,
ethnic.
it doesn't. It's not because of anything. They're just like the whole worldview doesn't make any sense. It's just
No, I
completely
agree,
chaotic.
but they're like, why don't
Yeah.
they consider them to be white? They just don't. Like that's kind of like
Yeah.
that's like the I don't that's like the premise. Like
Yeah. Yeah. People. Yeah.
Sid,
All right.
I got it wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
And home cooking is raising a good question. What is white, anyways? Honestly,
Yeah.
again, a
These are-
good question.
Or even Jewish, right? These are just all like not very well defined concepts, and we don't even need them to be very well defined because they have no use cases. Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah. Yeah, the idea
Oh,
of
yes.
white is basically an exported American weird racial concept.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Swizzy, do you know I'm running out of time?
I know.
Seriously, like I'm asking, I'm
Let's
begging you.
let's do it.
Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
Okay, next news. Do you want to clap? Next news.
No, next news.
Backlash as Kuwait University moves to gender segregate classrooms. Kuwait University has ignited a wave of controversy by announcing its decision to implement gender segregation in classrooms. This move, backed by an agreement between Kuwaiti MP Mohammed Haif al-Mutairi, head of the Committee of the Promotion of Virtue, and the Minister of Education, Adel Al-Manea, mandates the prohibition of mixed gender classes across all facilities. Al-Mutari stated that the separation is in accordance with law number 24 of 1996 and added, quote, aside from the law, there are also the morals of the Kuwaiti people and the Islamic Sharia, which have set standards and regulations to preserve the morals of Kuwaiti youth against any issue that contradicts Sharia or stirs up discord. Critics, however, decry the move as a blow to Kuwait's democratic values and an attempt to further Islamize the nation's laws, with journalist Dahim al-Qatani warning of, quote, serious harm to thousands of students due to this unjust decision. So, yes, secular Zakai. Oh, yay, Kuwait backsliding even further. Yeah, so I was reading this article and I thought it was interesting because it was not only was it talking about this issue, but it was also kind of discussing how this is unfortunately a signal of Kuwait becoming more Islamized lately. And
Shame.
Yeah, this is going to have major implications on the education of many people, because if a department basically doesn't have the space or budget or ability to gender segregate, it's basically going to mean that the females are just going to be excluded from that department for the sake of preserving the segregation. It's like, well, okay, if we don't have the capacity to actually implement the gender segregation, then the solution is basically just going to be to exclude the females.
So, Kuwait, I did not expect that from Kuwait. Kuwait's supposed to be like a little bit more progressive compared to the, some countries around them. But yeah, such a shame. Anyways, let's quickly move forward to the next news because I am running out of time.
Yeah. Also, I would like to say that Reza complimented Maghré, and that means a lot. I've been fighting Maghré for years now.
Oh. Do you want to read? That's good. You are getting better at them. What about your ches?
Khé is easy.
Okay, good. All right.
D is saying this is stupid. They are crippling a new generation to not know how to deal with each other. I agree. What is like the benefit of, like we talk about people being under socialized, severely under socialized. yeah, segregating men and women is a great way to make sure that people are under socialized.
Yeah. All right. So wait, before we move to the next news, I wanna ask you, can you say "Kukuli kukul"?
Do you want to fight
Kukuli
me
kukul.
right now? What's wrong with you? Say that
Say
again.
this. "Kukuli kukul."
Gogoli gogol.
Yeah, okay. "Kukuli kukul." Say it again.
Gogoli gogol.
Okay, good. You're getting better at it with your qas. Good
It
job.
would no. It's so hard for me. Is dagegan.
Dagigan?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
really hard. Or bagalagatog. That's hard.
Bagalapolo.
No, but the gilaki dish is bagalagatog.
Oh, okay. That's another dish. Okay, okay.
I think you would call it bagali koresh.
Khoresh bagale.
Yeah,
Kenny
yeah,
is saying, what does it mean? The guguli gugul is just a sound that a rooster is supposed to make.
What?
Why, yours is insane too. What does what does the sound that roosters say makes in English? Cock-a-doodle-doo?
Cockadoodle doo.
Yeah. So don't you be judgmental over guguli gugul. You say cock-a-doodle-doo, they say guguli gugul. They're both
And neither of them
insane.
sound anything like the noise that a rooster actually makes. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, and now everyone's saying that yeah, the noise that roosters
Cook.
make in their language. I love this. Yeah, exactly. And Dee's saying, well, Armin has time for this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I have to go. Okay. All right. Then can we clap for the next news? Oh, look, people are saying they're kiki. Okay. All right. Can I clap?
Sorry, I was gonna make a Farsi joke about him saying that it's kikiri. Sorry.
Kiri. So secular sekai is saying dirty words in Persian, I think. Like, yes,
Low
that's
key, yeah.
penis,
Or there's a
yeah.
play on words there.
All
Okay.
right.
Anyways.
Okay. Next news.
Infamous homophobe ordered to pay $100,000 to gay couple she denied marriage license. I thought we would end on a little bit more of a positive note. Kim Davis, the former Rowan County clerk in Kentucky, has been instructed to pay $100,000 in damages to a same-sex couple who she denied a marriage license to based on her religious beliefs. This verdict came from a federal jury in the case of Ermond versus Davis, awarding $50,000 to each plaintiff, David Ermond and David Moore. Their attorney, Joe Buckles, highlighted the simplicity of the case, stating, "The Supreme Court says that my clients have a constitutional right to marry under the 14th Amendment. But this case isn't really about Davis's religion. It's about a government official that just refused to do her job." Despite the victory for Ermond and Moore, another couple in a parallel case, Yates versus Davis, received no damages, which Buckles termed a, quote, terrible injustice. This case reflects on ongoing tensions between the intersection of individual religious beliefs and constitutional rights in the aftermath of the 2015 Supreme Court ruling legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide. So, for some background on this case, if you're not maybe American and not familiar with this situation. So back in 2015, when gay marriage became federally legalized because of a Supreme Court decision, there was a gay couple in Kentucky that went down to their local courthouse to get married. Actually, there are two couples because she did this twice. And Kim Davis here refused to do her job that the government pays her salary for to issue them their marriage license because she's a Christian. She has a biblical worldview that marriage is between one man and one woman. And this has been an ongoing battle, legal battle since this incident. And this so far the courts have sided with the couples. They're like she's failing to do her duty as a government official, and now she's officially been ordered to pay $100,000 to one of the couples. Then they're also, both of these couples who she did this to are also going to file to have their lawyers and courts fees, have her be liable for paying those fees. However, on one hand, it's kind of sad because one of the couples were not awarded any damages. And their lawyers was saying that this was a terrible injustice because the court has ruled that they are owed nothing, even though their constitutional rights were violated. And that's very unfair. That being said, Davis's lawyers are going to try to appeal this decision. They are going to try to appeal the damages that she was, for lack of a better word, like sentenced or ruled that she has to pay. But for right now, I thought this was a little bit of a victory. We'll see how it plays out.
Okay, so what are the chances that the whole bunch of conservatives are just going to donate that to her?
I don't know if that's allowed. There are, especially because of state law, there are certain state laws where you're not allowed to have other people cover the damages that you are mandated to pay. So I don't know if she would be able to do that, but that could, in certain states, that's illegal.
I do think that whether or not she has to pay out of pocket or not, this is a win because, well, not because she has to pay it, but because this is now a precedent. That's the more important thing here, because now this is going to be used as a reference. So this is about future people that come and their rights is going to, so this is good. This is good to have this in the books.
Yeah. We have to see how they are going to try to appeal this. So we'll see how far it goes up the chain. Because the Supreme Court previously declined to hear her appeal a few years ago, but now we have a very different Supreme Court.
So I have a few more minutes, so I just wanted to let everyone know that we almost made it today. That's amazing. I didn't think
wow. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. This is incredible.
Yes, that's crazy. Like in 3 days, we managed to get so close to our goal. In 3 days, I did not believe that it would take this low amount of time. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everybody who donated. I will include the link one more time. So for people who might be new here, we are kind of short on cash, and we have let some of our writers go, and we can't pay them, and we need to. This is an emergency situation that we're dealing with, but you guys basically saved us. So thank you so much for making us able to continue what we're doing. Thank you for that. I also think it was very sweet that a lot of people mentioned in the live chat the rooster sounds in their language.
Yeah, wait, I actually love this. Gaijin gave a $2 super chat saying, in Mandarin, roosters say, woo, woo, woo.
Okay, that sounds like an ambulance, but okay.
Seek the Truth said, in Turkish, it's, I don't even know how to say this with the umlauts.
Uru, uru, uru.
Uwu? No.
I don't know.
Roosters say uwu in Turkish.
I don't know that they were cam girls. The roosters who cam.
Yeah. Damian, I don't know what language this is, but he says kakuli kodu. Okay.
That's like very much like Americans.
It's closer, yeah. In Vishwa is saying in Telugu, this is Chindara Bandara. Chindara Bandara.
Chindara Bandara.
I don't know. That's kind of funny. Yeah. Ved is also saying in India, they also say kuku. Okay, I can kind of see that being more accurate.
That's the closest one to actual sound, I would say. That's the closest one so far. Yeah.
Sakai is saying in Spanish, it's
kikiriki. So in Persian, that sounds like you're saying, who penis who? Who's as if
That's why
as
Armin
if
and I were laughing earlier.
like it basically means who penis who, like as if like you're asking whose penis is this. Okay. Okay.
And Dana, I like this one a lot. It's kukuri kuku. Kukuri kuku. Kukuri kuku. In
Oh, that's very
Ukrainian.
much like. Oh my god, that's very sounds because ours is rogoli rogo, rogoli rogo, kukuri kuku, rogoli rogo, kukuri kuku. It's very close.
I think the Ukrainian one is the closest to the actual sound that we've heard so far.
I know, but all the vowels of the Ukrainian is the same as the vowels for the Persian. Weird, interesting.
There's a lot of Ukrainian words that actually sound like Persian. I wonder what's going on there. Right. And yeah. Oh, there's another super chat by Sid Dave.
Oh, here, I got it. Do you want to read it?
Yeah. So Sid Dave is saying, do you guys have other jobs outside of atheist activism? Does it pay the bills? Not that you have to reveal everything. I appreciate what you do. Well, thank you, Sid Dave. And thank you for all the super chats you gave us today. It's super generous. I do have a full-time job outside of Atheist Republic. I volunteer. So I have a full-time job and I actually have a new job. I don't know. Maybe I'm actually in a position nowadays to reveal what I do. With my previous job, I couldn't, but I will consider if I want to do that. Yeah.
For security reasons, I do not talk about what I do outside of my atheist activism because of, I have some major security issues, so I cannot answer that question.
Yeah. And before we leave, I would just like to highlight our fundraiser one more time because wait, let me pull it up. Okay. Boom. We have another donation, which I think might be our monthly donations from Victoria saying, I don't have much, but I hope this helps. This channel must stay alive.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Victoria. It does help. It absolutely helps. Anything that people can contribute helps. So thank you very much for your generosity and your contribution. It does make a difference. And I also saw that earlier in the live chat, Sakai was asking us about a counter for our monthly donor goal. And I am going to come up with a way to track that. I'm going to look at things on the back end to see if there's a way that I can do a feature like that. But yes, I am definitely keeping track of if we've met our goal with those $10 monthly donors to help keep the news show alive. So everyone, thank you so much for just showing up today, being part of our community. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, and thank you for being what actually makes this community what it is. Like a lot of people come because they, know Armin for his atheist activism, or they like, our commentary, or they like the way that we talk about these news and really just have fun with our community. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the people that show up in our live chat every day that say the hilarious and entertaining things that you guys do, it really wouldn't be the same. So thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. And thank you, Susie, for setting this up. I didn't know what else we're going to do. Like, you saved. So yeah, actually special thanks to Susie and all the work that she does to keep us alive. I thought like we're done and over, and you came up with this idea. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And like I said, we have a plan for going forward, and we have a plan to stabilize, and we are going to, like I said before, the only way that we've ever gotten through any challenge as an organization is through the power of our community. And I know we're going to do it again.
All right. I got to go, guys. I have another show to do. I'm doing 2 to 3 streams a day. So I am trying to work as much as possible to get us, keep us above water. So I'm going to go to our next stream on our Persian channel. So see you guys again. Probably I'll see you guys with Secular Rarity soon. But Susie, I will see you here same time next week. Bye, guys.
That's right. Bye.
Like and subscribe. Bye.